Well, hello, Internet. I'm keeping my date with you because actually, by doing that, keeping my date with you, I'm keeping a date with myself in trying to create a new book by January 1st of 2021. And so what am I doing today? I'm actually working on a presentation that I'm giving Friday. Now, why am I doing that instead of working on a book? Well, to be honest, because I need to get it done. And two, a lot of the content that's in my head that's going to be in the presentation is going to find its way into the book. So while I'm not working directly on the book, I'm working, or in the book, I guess I should say. I'm going to take a variation on that old, are you working on your business or in your business? So instead of working in my book, I'm going to be working on my book, so to speak, by working on the presentation I'm going to be giving Friday. It's all about, it's called Inviting a Culture of Personal Brands. Now, I typically talk about creativity, culture, branding, personal branding, which is more or less a subset of branding, and then what I like to call the intersection of culture and branding, because you'll hear me say over and over again, brands say, cultures do. I truly believe that. Well, branding is about putting stuff on paper so you can say it and then do it. And you'll notice that's the same dual architecture of my go-to bumper sticker regarding nonfiction branding, which is know who you are so you can be it. If you know who you are, you can be it. If you're a culture that is branded and has your messages codified and memorable and repeatable by every member of your company, then you will have a culture that can do those things. Get it? There's always a duality involved here. But at any rate, I am talking about working on the presentation I'm giving on Friday, which looks a little something like this. Now, I'm building this in Apple Keynote. Ooh, let me bring that down just a little bit. Straighten things out. There we go. I love Keynote. I hate Microsoft PowerPaint, so I use Apple Keynote. And you'll notice one of the things I'm doing, killing time. Well, not killing time, but doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, is I'm going in and changing the color of certain parts from a kind of rich yellow to what Apple likes to call sky, which is kind of a baby blue, robin's egg blue. Why, David, or DP, you guys know me as DP, so I won't confuse you. Why, DP, are you doing that? Well, I think I mentioned it on last night's BOOKWARD BOUND that I went to see. Actually, I now know two big speakers at Social Media Marketing World were using the same color scheme that I typically would use, which is this: black background, white type with yellow as a highlight color. Well, in one case, that person used yellow as not a highlight color, but as the base color, and then white as a highlight color. But the bottom line is, there were these two people by the names of Brian Fanzo and Mark Schaefer who habitually do their keynotes or their PowerPoints in the same darn color scheme that I was using. That doesn't sit well with me. I don't like plagiarism. I try never to do it. I try never to copy. And I certainly don't want people to believe that I was ripping off someone's look or style. That's how painful it is to me. It goes all the way back to 6th grade. And I really don't want to tell that story, other than to say that it's not cool that someone else steals your paragraph and then the teacher reads it out loud because that kid who stole it was a bit of a miscreant and they get credit for the thing you wrote. Yeah, that happened to me. Seriously, I need to see a therapist about that. But for now, let's just say I have a phobia to plagiarism, copying, inadvertently or on purpose. Okay, so I've got to, like here, this, whenever you see this green, that means I've been through this PowerPoint and I'm going, hey, I got to do something here. I've got to make a mosaic of a hashtag UPS dogs, because UPS dogs actually has a great Instagram, especially if you love dogs. So I need to collect screenshots and make that, et cetera, et cetera. But right now I'm going through this and think about my content. Like this, every influencer is a brand, but not vice versa. I actually made a slide up here, and I want to get rid of the quotes on that. I don't, influencers. But this slide obviously should be associated with that, so I'm gonna actually cut that out and drag it down to, where was it? Right. A boot here. A boot for all my Canadian friends. All right, I want to give this some drop shadow. Hey, by the way, drop shadow can help make your stuff stand out. It just gives it a little bit more room. Comes off the screen a little bit. Do you see that? Without, with, without, with. Drop shadow can be your friends, people. And I'm going to give this guy some drop shadow as well. Take the blur down a little bit. I like a 330-degree angle. For some reason, I just like the light from upper left. And I'm going to give him a little bit more offset, but not too much. Bingo. So that looks cool. Every brand, but not vice versa. So this is a build. And rather than do a build inside or with the automation, I do it manually, flipping from one slide to the other. And I'll show you what that means. All right, so like here. Every influencer is a brand. Hit the advance, but not vice versa. Bobbity bing bong. Hopefully you guys can see that. Yeah, so a lot of these concepts are like, oh yeah, this is going to go right in the book. Fake it till you make it. You know, we've all heard that, fake it till you make it. No, baby, demonstrate it till you and you'll make it. It's not fake it to make it. It's demonstrate it, and you will make it. Master of the Unselfish Selfie. That's something that came out of my first book. That still is a popular part of my presentations. You can't post the photo. And again, this is a build you didn't take. And again, I'm going to own Baby Blue, damn it. Because Brian Fanzo, and let's give it a little bit of blur. And a little bit more offset. So 21, 18, 100. $21, 18. Let's go to this one. 21. Because visual branding, I guess that's a huge thing that people don't really pay attention to, is the power of visual branding. And I'm definitely going to write about it in the book. Let's see how this looks. Post, the photo you didn't take. Bang. La 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 la. And this is just making the point that taking a selfie at a presentation you give can get you a fair amount of views. And then it reminds me, oh yeah, take a photo with everybody in the talk, assuming you get to the end of the talk. I gave a talk on Monday Oh my gosh. Let me tell you about this. I gave a talk on Monday where I had a full design PowerPoint or Keynote, Apple Keynote. And at one point, I looked down at my watch, and 55 minutes of what was supposed to be 45 minutes of talk and then or 15 minutes of questions, it was 55 minutes of talk. But frankly, I found that 15 minutes for questions things, it rarely leads to significant questions because people are still absorbing stuff, and there's a natural tendency for a lot of people not to ask questions. But anyway, I went 55 minutes. I guess I'm skipping the last 20 slides. And that's exactly what I did. By the way, it went really, really well. I can tell it went well if people buy books after my talk. I think there were maybe 30 to 40 people there, and 5 bought books. That's a tremendous conversion rate, if you ask me. And I'm hoping some will buy it on Amazon as well. But when they buy it from me, this is the reason you write a book and you self-produce it. For every book I sell, I make $15 because I price it at $20. It costs about $5 via Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing to print it out and have it shipped. So 20 minus 5 equals 15. Not bad, considering that most authors of hardcover books will make, if you're Stephen King, maybe you'll get $6 a book. I don't know, something like that. But for most first-time publishers or first-time writers, you might get $1 for a $25 book. Yeah, that's the way traditional publishing works. But Kindle Direct Publishing, if you write a book that gets a lot of sales, you're going to make some bank, which is why I should be writing some Sasquatch romance books. Believe it or not, I'm not kidding you. Cryptid romance or Sasquatch, the Jersey Devil romance novels, all of these cryptids or, fake creatures, the chupacabra. There are romance books based on romances between women and cryptids like Sasquatch. Yes, we live in a very, very strange world. And by the way, I use the word romance on purpose because they actually are a little bit more than that. It starts with a P, it ends with an N, and it has an O-R in the middle. Spell that out, and that's what you're talking about. But enough of me talking about that. Okay, this is the original blue I was going to do. I think I'm going to the slightly darker because it looks really good on screen. Anyway, a couple more screens that I have to correct color on. And that was 33777 because I use Textiful for people to join my email list that I am terrible about ever sending anything to. But yeah, that's the way that works. Let's see what else. I think I want to give this a little bit more drop shadowy goodness. Offset a little bit more. Yeah, you can see how it makes it more legible. Same thing down here. So, yeah, I'm not writing my book, but I'm thinking about it. And I'm actually creating content that's going to find its way into the book. And that's a key thing, because let's face it, sometimes you're just not feeling like doing it. Like last night, I didn't feel like doing it. And the funny thing is, I fully expected when I made this promise to myself to write a book that I would have plenty of time. Well, I get back from social media marketing world, and all of a sudden a bunch of big projects just dump on me, for my business. And I'm a solopreneur, so I have to do it all while I have to produce a podcast and interview people for that podcast and edit that podcast and do paid work and work on this. So that's why I am here at 7:50 Central Standard Time, UTC -5, talking at you. This is the earliest I could physically get down here to actually move the ball forward on my book. Yeah. I sat there with my wife and said, oh, man, I can't believe I have to do this. And she said to me, well, that's how you write a book, one word at a time. And I go, don't be the voice of reason to me, woman. But she always is, and that's why I love her so darn much. Don't tell her I said that. Seriously, don't. Anyway, back here, fixing some stuff, yada, yada, ding, dong, 3377. I don't need that. To get the key 3. Yep. Are those the right colors? I don't think they are. Yeah. Go a little bit more blue. And again, visual branding. I started talking about that. It is so key when you're a personal brand to practice the branding best practices that have been determined by packaged goods companies for over 100 years. The whole reason branding happened is because my barrel of biscuits is different than your barrel of biscuits. How can you tell? Because every single biscuit has the imprint of our logo on it. That's how a company like Nabisco becomes Nabisco. They were really, really good at branding, and they made sure to show their brand everywhere. Well, with a personal brand, like the one the book's going to be talking about, or the small business brands, same darn situation. I'm going to get them on my email list. I'm going to pull that down. One of the cool things about Keynote is that you can still have stuff off screen and it won't show on screen. And you can always pull it back up if you want to. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get people on my mailing list. My special, today's special price, $20. Why? Because you have to pay $20.99 or something like that. What is the price? No. 29, yeah, something. And you can buy with Square, because I have a Square. Thank you very much, Jack Dorsey. And listen to go to Nonfiction Brandversity and join the free Facebook group. Yeah, which you can do, by the way. So take a look at this screen. Look up Nonfiction Brandversity on Facebook, ask to join, and you are in, guaranteed. That's what I always say during my podcast. So again, I'm just quickly paging up here. Ding, 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 ding. This needs to change. To Sky. I also need to give a photo credit. I'm one of those people that's... Okay, so here. I told you about my yellow, black, and white thing. This is the lovely and talented Mark Schaefer doing the keynote at the 2019 Social Media Marketing World, demonstrating the same color palette that I used religiously, and also Brian Fanzo uses religiously. Now, I'm not on the same tier as Mark Schaefer or Brian Fanzo, but I aspire to get there. Consequently, I don't want to be showing up wearing the same dress they are. And maybe I shouldn't show up wearing a dress at all, but frankly, let's not talk about that, because there are certain weekends. And then I realized, oh my God, my blue is very similar to Tiffany blue. Huh. Am I living out some type of breakfast at Tiffany's fantasy? I just might be. So the name of the talk, these slides were supplied by the group I'm speaking to, Culture Community, here in Madison, Wisconsin, at Dream Bank, American Family Insurance, and I'm going to be doing it on Friday, March 13th. So if you're from Madison and you're doing nothing at 8:30 a.m. till 10 a.m., come on down to Culture Community, one of my favorite groups, meetups, sharing venues in town. And I'm going to be talking about inviting a culture of personal brands. And then it kicks into my brand. What is a personal brand? We're going back to the beginning. The funny thing is, a lot of people think personal brands are something new that, it happened when Instagram influencers started doing brand level stuff. No, a guy named Tom Peters wrote about it in 1997 in Fast Company magazine, and also CEO World magazine in 1997, the August-September issue of Fast Company magazine. Tom Peters wrote about it, and you can actually read the article because it's still up, and I'm actually going to show this to you. You can go to Fast Company magazine. Let me size that up a little bit. And read an article called "The Brand Called You." Now, this is one of the games I like to play with my presentation audiences. I can always tell how old they are by saying, what brand is that? Now, a lot of people, including younger people, will be familiar with it. They'll say instantly Tide, which is an American clothes washing detergent. Those colors, very recognizable. And that was what branding was about. It was about packaging. Can you find the packaging of your preferred brand? Like, if you're a Coca-Cola drinker, you don't look for the words Coca-Cola, you look for the colors red and white. If you're a Pepsi drinker, you look for the color blue, kind of a medium blue. Well, Fast Company magazine, Tom Peters came out with, and this is from Wikipedia, about personal branding. Personal branding is the practice of people marketing themselves and their careers as brands. While previous self-help management techniques were about self-improvement, the personal branding concept suggests instead that success comes from self-packaging. The term is thought to have been first used and discussed in a 1997 article by Tom Peters in CEO World magazine. Well, he may have done it there, but I was able to get the action. I actually read this in 1997, and I wish I still had a physical copy of this magazine, because I would haul it out and say, all you people who think personal branding's new, come look at the date on this magazine. 1997. It's been around longer than some of you influencers have been. That's me being a crotchety old guy. But, it's something I aspire to. At any rate, I like my presentations to be highly visual with a whole bunch of examples. And I'm just paging through over here because I don't want to bore you with it. But you can see I'm dropping a lot of ideas into this presentation. And I guess my advice to you is if you want to write a book and you present, if you're a thought leader, go through your presentations and look for book level concepts that can be incorporated in a book. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. In fact, and the other thing is my podcast as well. So I showed you that picture of Mark Schaefer giving his talk. Well, guess what? I've had him on the podcast, and this was a note to myself. Take an audio clip from Nonfiction Brand, episode 64, at 2 minutes, 18 seconds into 3 minutes, and plug it in here. Now, I'm not going to do that for this one. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm showing you on camera. Okay, so here I was just talking about. This is reminding me to grab that clip from the episode. I'm not going to do this for this presentation because I don't want to just stand there for 30 seconds while the clip plays. But in other presentations I might. I want to keep control of the audience's attention. And the way to do that is to have slides with one concept on it. The number one technique of personal branding demonstration. And then meet a few people, a few personal brands who are really demonstrating who they are, what they do, and how they do it. People like Pelpina Tripp, Richard Moore, Sarah Gross, and Nicholas Thompson. And by the way, I love including Nicholas Thompson because he now is the editor-in-chief of Wired magazine, which back in 1997, two magazines came out roughly the same time. One was Wired, the other Fast Company. I read both, and the fact that he's the editor-in-chief now of Wire Magazine, kind of, this is an Easter egg for me. You know, it's kind of, it's what comedians do. I did this for me. Well, I'm doing this for me. Plus, he's really, really smart, and I really appreciate what he brings to the table. Meet Nicholas Thompson of Wire Magazine. All right. And I think Molly Mahoney, are you going to make it in this presentation? Maybe, because she is doing it on Facebook. But let me think about that. Every day is Casual Friday. Oop, that's more purpley. There we go. But how casual is your casual? And then I say every day is Thanksgiving Day. Why? No politics, no religion, no jerks. Because half your audience is weird Uncle Jerry. Dang it, if I'm showing you stuff, I should really show you stuff. So, visual, boom. You'll notice, and frankly, this is a book writing technique too. So here's what I'm talking about. Every day is Casual Friday. How casual is your casual? Every day is Thanksgiving Day. No politics, no religion, no jerks. Because half your audience is weird Uncle Jerry. That's kind of a term. Weird Uncle Jerry, everyone's got one. The one who comes to Thanksgiving with the absolute wrong T-shirt or the wrong hat or something like that, and it's designed just to punch people's buttons. There's always 50% of your audience that is ready to do that. So, anyway. So, again, why am I working on a presentation when I want to be writing a book? Because my presentation, the content of that presentation, is going to be the foundation for my book. So, would it be better if on day 6 of 301 I was actually writing the book? I would say no, because I'm still at the skeletal phase of creating a book. If you jump right in, you know, I know there are writers out there who start with a blank yellow legal pad and they have a pencil and they write longhand from start to finish. Well, good for you, mister. But for me, that's not the way it works. For me, I have to build the skeleton. I have to see the skeleton. I have to understand how the skeleton works together. And then I have to slowly apply muscles onto the skeleton and until I build that body of a book from the inside out. I love to know what it's going to look like in theory, which is why I do like to create the cover of the book before I get too far along this line. And I kind of have, but I haven't really shared it with you because I tried a couple of nights ago and it didn't work too well. I actually need to get it done further so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. But is this going to get this book written in by January 1st, 2021? I'm going to do my damnedest to make sure it does. And the way I'm going to do it is by coming down here at 7:30 at night and go, I really just want to sit in front of a TV. But instead, I'm going to sit in front of a Canon 70D, smile into it and say, hi, I'm P Knudten for the Nonfiction Brand Podcast and Nonfiction Brandversity. This is all for tonight, or this is all I'm going to be doing tonight. So thank you for watching. Thank you for keeping me honest, because you're the reason I'm down here doing this tonight. Thanks very much. Let's have some music on the way out. That, by the way, is the Nonfiction Brand podcast theme, which I created by myself using only loops in GarageBand. That's how hands-on, do-it-yourself-y I am. DIY, DP's all about the DIY. So once again, I'm P Knudten for the Nonfiction Brand Podcast and Nonfiction Brandversity, a free Facebook group that I invite you to join. Just search Nonfiction Brandversity on Facebook. Answer 3 questions to prove you're not a bot, and you're in. For now, that's it. I'll talk to you next time.